Wave 3, so new generation customs. Wave 3, Whenua Streetside. I'm just gonna say it's Whenua. I could be butchering that, but yeah, it's there. And
Winneroo, Werewoo, Howerwoo.
Whenua.
It's Weeaboo Streetside, I think is what it's.
Weeaboo. Oh my goodness.
It
Whatever.
was posted in the chat at the very beginning. I think
What's that?
Lex put the proper pronunciation of it somewhere at the very beginning of the YouTube chat, in case you're curious.
Whenua.
Oh,
yeah.
Whenua. Okay, that's what he was saying. Whenua. Okay. Whenua Streetside. Okay, gotcha.
Whenua, Howerwoo, Werewoo.
Yeah, Lex, I know I butcher things. That's why I always give the disclaimer. I butcher names often. Whenua. Okay, I'll try to remember that. I probably won't. So Wave 3, Whenua Streetside by New Generation Customs. Here we're just gonna go to Wave, and I mean there is so much to cover with these guys, and so I mean we're just gonna basically talk about what stands out the most, things that we like, maybe some of the things that I know we probably don't like about it, and we'll probably talk through the whole stream for it. But first thing I do want to cover before we cover the miniatures is the atmospheres, destructible objects, terrain rules supplements. These I really like a lot. Here, let me just get to like the darkness, because I do have a thing that I'm curious about when it comes to the darkness, the atmosphere. I think it's a great idea. Darkness, line of sight, and clear sight are reduced to 4 spaces. Let's see if I can. No, I can't zoom into that. Okay, forget it. Okay, so anybody watching, I hope you can see it well, because it's hard to zoom in. But anyway, the one thing that I'm kind of confused though is the illumination. It says figures may be illuminated by special powers or special terrain such as street lamps. An illuminated figure never receives any effects from occupying shadow spaces. It can be seen as though it was not in darkness. So it's basically being illuminated. I don't see any positive things about being illuminated, or is that just me?
Exactly.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
I think it's just
That's how I see it. It's not a good thing.
Right.
Primarily would be for clear sight if you're in darkness, or primarily if you're in a darkness scenario. If you're illuminated, you can see other people and attack from
benefit
range.
to you.
But
No, that's not how it's read though.
They can see you too, though, right?
No, they can only see you.
Yeah.
Well, no, I see a line of sight.
You don't
So
wanna
line of
stand on a
sight and
streetlight
clear
at
sight
night in a
are reduced
gunfight.
by
You'll
4
get
spaces,
shot.
so it means both ends. Now I can understand that part. And Lex is saying scenarios may help the illuminated. Stay tuned in the coming weeks. Okay, so they'll probably be. You guys are coming up with scenarios. Okay, fair enough. But for me,
Wait,
that's
explain the part again about why it can let people see further away in the dark.
what you mean? You mean in the illumination?
Yeah,
It doesn't say anything about that.
Yeah,
it just says that they can see you. It doesn't mean that.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
can see
that
them.
mixed up.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. Lex is saying being illuminated is a debuff with no other context. You're right. Yeah. That's the one thing that I thought was, I think it's a great idea. But just so that illumination doesn't feel like any time that, like, if you have illumination ability or if you're lit by a street lamp, that you're just a sitting duck, and everyone else is hidden in the shadows, like being in the darkness is actually a good thing. It kind of reverses the horror. Like, you're more afraid of the illumination than you are of the darkness, if that makes sense.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it does the exact opposite of what you wanted to do. But it does something that I really enjoy, because majority of the time in Heroscape, you want to be next to cover. You want to be next to the things that give you powers and abilities and extra defense and height advantage. Where, like, this is kind of like lava or water. Like, you want to stay away from it. And I like that idea. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And see, Lex Lex is saying illumination makes you targetable. Yeah, exactly. You're in the spotlight. Yeah. Okay. So
and this could be a really good
what you want.
hint to hopefully future powers where maybe there's a character with flashlight or some kind of light beam ability.
Sure.
So that you can target characters to say, okay, if you're in darkness, you can make a character on the other team illuminated so that you can shoot it. I think that's cool. I love darkness. This is so much fun.
For sure, yeah. See, Alexa's also saying illumination helps balance out high ground on maps. I'll admit that we tend to do a lot of stuff where playing it helps it click. Now, yeah, when it comes to high ground, so like
put a street lamp on height.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's
go on the height.
An idea. Okay, yeah, there you go. That can make a difference on that. The whole atmosphere type of idea, having atmosphere cards, I think is a great idea, because that really brings out like different type of scenario type plays for sure, or type games. But yeah, that
now, what do you guys?
This was the thought.
I'm gonna throw something out here. What do you guys think? Now, I love it being a card. I love the idea of being a card. But how would you guys feel if it was a glyph, and you can just activate and deactivate it, and it's like a magic power that darkens the entire area of the map that you're playing on?
That'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind it, depending on how balanced the rule is for it. Yeah. That would be interesting. I think that's an idea.
Yeah.
Take notes, Alex. Take notes.
Yeah, that's a fun idea.
Okay, how about we get into...
The idea right now is for darkness to just be used when the players choose to use it. Like, both players...
Yeah, I think it's an atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's for that scenario.
Yeah, so you would just say, all right, this map uses darkness. You put the card on the map, or put the card next to the map and say, all right, this map's in darkness.
So you can refer to it, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, playing any card game... I don't know if Magic does this. I know Yu-Gi-Oh's done this. Pokemon does this.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and Lex is saying, so one thing about atmospheres, this isn't a new heavy wind and heavy snow are atmospheres. Yes, but there really wasn't a card for those. That was just the terrain. I mean, with the exception of heavy wind. I don't know, for me it's a little it's something kind of new aside from just the weather. I mean, darkness is really more of it feels like more of an unnatural type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, instead of for example, if you make a very summery map and just say, all right, hey, it's heat wave, and now everybody moves two movements slower, and now it's like, well, everyone gets tired more, so you can't run, you can't walk, you can't go further, something like that. Like, because of how simple I like how simple it is.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone can see only 4 spaces instead of whatever their range is. Everyone's capped at 4.
Right.
That I like.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like Lex is saying here, darkness isn't just for nights, it can be a cave setting. Yeah, exactly. You could build a Valhallan Underdark map with darkness. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then you can have characters with night vision.
Yep.
Which any D&D player knows, super overpowered.
And I
have dark vision.
I like how it kind of nullifies some shadow spaces too. If you got shadow spaces on the board and use illumination in the spaces, boom, you can't do anything about it. So yeah, that's kind of fun.
And the fun thing about atmospheres is they're just something to have in your pocket, instead of saying, because it's no secret that range is really strong. So let's say, you have someone come over, you don't want to squash them with your Q9 army. You put darkness in play, and it's just something fun to have. It's simple to put into effect, and once more atmospheres are added, you could have a random atmosphere draw. You could, there's a lot of this. It's optional if you want to do it, and there's some fun scenarios come along the way that will definitely kind of bring in the darkness and the light mechanics a lot more as well.
Sure. And then you got like the street lamps that will illuminate too. And this is fun because this is like a playable terrain here that is just basically illumination, an illumination space, basically. How many spaces does it occupy? The street lamp? Is it just
It's just one.
just the one, like just one surrounding it, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's one space. It's about 10 spaces tall.
Right. Right. Yeah. 10 levels tall. Yep. But it would only occupy just the hexes surrounding it, basically.
Right. So it's 6 tiles.
Okay. No, that's
Which
good.
is still pretty big. Like that's
One
huge.
hex, yeah. So it illuminates 6 spaces. Okay. Yeah. That's. It would be fun to have, in that certain scenario. I mean, to be illuminated, but when it comes to the darkness atmosphere, I hope you guys, when it comes to any scenario that, okay, people are afraid to get into the light, but you should also be afraid to stay in the dark too. That there's got to be some type of like character or scenario to where you don't want to stay in darkness either. Like there should be advantages and disadvantages on being on both sides, I think.
True. I mean, obviously, I think that'd be way better for scenarios.
Right.
I mean, competitively, I don't know what you would want to do. I highly doubt you would be like, okay, if for each round that you're in darkness, you subtract, more range from your character. So you at that point you were blind. I don't know.
Well, it's something like Raylan. If you're in darkness, Raylan doesn't affect your characters. So that's something to kind of take into effect. Is like your line of sight is more important than that kind of stuff. So Raylan's aura is only effective if she's eliminated in that scenario.
Interesting. And Lex is saying that he's teasing a little bit. He's giving a tease. We have a Night of the Living Dead style scenario where you're overwhelmed by zombies and the light is relevant. Okay, there you go. Well, of course you guys are. You gotta reach for that. For that, of course, because we got zombies. So yeah, gotta use them. Let's see here, and I just want to take a look at destructible objects really quick here. Let's take a look at these. Let's see here, combustible. Okay, derelict vehicle. Now, where did this vehicle come from, Josiah?
So that's just a 3D print that's painted and printed right there.
Where do you get the 3D print from?
So it should be right there. That link, if it's not listed.
Yeah, it's listed.
Okay,
I'm
gonna scroll down.
Sci-fi flying cargo van.
Okay.
Yeah, sci-fi flying cargo van.
Okay. Okay. Combustible. When derelict vehicle is destroyed, roll 1 attack die for each figure adjacent to it. So yeah, like a splash effect. Okay. If rolled, small figure receives a wound. Partial cover, small medium figures adjacent to derelict vehicle. Run one additional defense die. Okay, so it gives a little bit, and you can also destroy it. It's got just forward. A little forward defense with 1 life. Okay. I like that. I like the fact of using destructible objects. Let's see here. Derelict large vehicle. Okay, 5 defense, 1 life as well. So basically the same. It's just a little bit larger. So a little bit more difficult to destroy. Slightly difficult. It still only has 1 life. Okay. I like that. Because one thing we absolutely need is more destructible things, more things we can destroy. Absolutely.
Blow them up.
We should be able to manipulate the battlefield a bit more.
Right.
Yep.
Like that's what bothers me with like the marble wall. Making competitive maps, and it's like, oh yeah, you use the walls. Like, no, we don't. We always have that open. I'm like, why? That's silly. Like, I should be able to put 2 of them together to make a building in the middle of the map, and at some point you blast the wall open. But then again, that might make games go longer. I don't know. Make a new card.
That auto defense for the destructible objects is such a bad idea because it makes it not worthwhile to attack.
Yeah.
Well, and say like what I thought was originally fun about the the castle set is like you have this door that you can break down, but
Good luck.
Well, first of all, it's kind of useless when you just build an army that can fly just to the top and just fly over and just open it from the inside or something like that. You know, you don't have to destroy it. So the desire to destroy it just goes out the window if you.
But it's a door. That makes more sense. Yeah. But when it comes to the Marvel wall, it's like, yeah, I should be able to blow that up like pretty easily, especially if I'm a larger, huge character.
Mm-hmm.
I should be able to punch that open. Like if the Hulk walks up to that, and it's like, all right, 2 hits. Why does it take 2 turns? It should be 1 hit from him, easy.
Yeah. How I play is if someone's on the top of the warehouse, if they break the war down, everyone falls down and takes damage.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's exactly how it should be played.
And do we have that? Let's see here. I don't think we have that wall as an option here on the.
No, that was just an aesthetic update I made for the promos and images and stuff with that. There's no new rule changes different about it. It's just I made it kind of a different color scheme.
Gotcha.
And all that kind of stuff because I was bored.
Gotcha. And for anybody who's like watching or listening, check out Roadscaper's YouTube channel. I do have a link in the description below toward to the video that he just did a live stream to where he goes through the miniatures of Wave 3. And so I have a link to the description below on YouTube right now for this video that we're performing live being created. And check it out. He really gives a lot more detail to this wave and to these minis and everything involved in it. So definitely check that out and give him like because he just surpassed 100 subs and give him more sub love. Give him more sub love because he has a great channel. So I just wanted to echo that out there. Let's get into some of these miniatures, okay? Shall we?
I want to give the shout out to the idea of their rules reference sheet.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
I think that's a genius idea, and I'm so glad they did that.
Keywords, okay. Flying, stealth flying, okay.
Like it's not. There's nothing There's nothing there that's like overly like incredible, but the fact that they did that to begin with is such a good idea.
Right. So it just gives reference to how to do things. Okay.
And even like having like a full description of like what everything is, but also including a brand new term of icons. Because some of the characters we'll cover that is an icon. An icon is essentially like a glyph, but it changes the, you put it on a space or you put it under a figure, and it like just kind of gives that visual representation of an effect happening. And I think the word icon is just a really good term to have. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out to that.
Sure.
I think that's all of that is such a good thing to have.
And Lex
for this community.
Lex in the chat is saying it's kind of important. So let me just read that real quick. Okay, so icons. Certain special powers on new generation customs army cards mention icons. An icon is an object that can occupy the spaces of the battlefield and be occupied by figures. The effect of each icon is written on the army card that places it. Icons can be placed in one of 2 ways with different rules. And I think the rules are like these below. So under a figure, if an icon is placed under a figure, it travels with that figure whenever it goes or wherever it goes and has no effects on any other figure. If that figure is destroyed, remove the icon from the battlefield. And then icon on a space. If an icon is placed on a space, it remains stationary unless otherwise noted in a special power. Figures can move onto and off of the icon as though it was a glyph or treasure glyph, and do not have to end their movement on the icon. It is possible for a glyph and 1 or more icons to occupy the same space. If there are any icons on a space, that space is not considered empty. So there you go. That is the important things for icons. So I read them. Now, minis. Okay, who wants to start? Who wants to start looking at these guys? I certainly have some comments on some, but someone else wants to go first.
All right, I'm going to try to pronounce this.
Okay.
Unless it's the same one you're thinking, Jeremy, but Klazen Scroll Nightwalker.
Okay, let's get
the Klatzen Skull. I think it's
German.
German. I think it's German. Yeah,
it's German inspired. It doesn't mean
okay. German. Yeah.
Klatzen Skull.
Yeah, I think that model is perfect.
Oh yeah.
I love that. That's exactly what Heroscape needs. More horror-looking, terrifying things.
Absolutely terrifying. Yep.
Yeah.
Klatzen School. That's how Lex is saying to pronounce it. Klatzen.
No, and I pulled up the back of the card because I was curious what Lex was talking about with the little surprises, and I'm a little terrified because not to mention what the past couple weeks I've been reading a ton of stuff about the back rooms, right? And entities and things like that. And now I'm reading anomalies. And I'm like, oh Lord, it's a SCP all over again. I'm terrified. Like, way to freak me out. Just grabbing things that make absolutely no sense on purpose. That's just how they be.
It almost
Entities
reminds
are
me
always like that.
of a Slender Man,
Yeah, no, definitely the same category. Just dwelling on the fringe of we don't get it, so it's going to freak us out.
Right.
Like, and that's it's the fear.
And Lex is saying we deliberated on the Valkyrie template.
That's
for a
right.
while.
Yeah, I just realized they changed the borders different. Oh. The cards border. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, Valkyrie, I think, is like whether or
Yeah,
not
we did upgrade the border.
Yeah. I just realized. Yeah, he just mentioned. I just realized.
It's really neat. I like it.
I don't.
The aesthetic's
yeah.
different.
No, it's. I like how the hand sticks out too. Like just it's like it's clawing at its own stats. That's a nice. Little...
Yeah, Lex does a really good job of making these cards and really putting them together and making them kind of dimensional, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds to the entity aesthetic because it just doesn't work with reality because it's not supposed to be real.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
So this guy can only be attacked in the head, then, right?
Right.
Is that
Yeah.
the intention? Yeah.
Like zombies.
Yeah. It's.
Or the bells.
Mm-hmm.
Classic zombie aesthetic.
bells,
Yeah.
For whom the bowl.
Which makes perfect sense because they are bells, which comes to deathly chimes.
Right.
Each time the Nightwalker receives one or more wounds, you must immediately roll the d20 for each non-terrifying figure within 2 spaces. If you roll a 16 or higher, that figure receives 1 wound. Afterward, you may then move your bell's icon under any opponent's figure within 3 spaces of the Nightwalker.
So you got to be really strategic in how you attack the monster because it's gonna.
Very strategic.
If you're careless, with 9 life, if you're careless, you can lose. You can easily lose who you're trying to fight the monster with.
So, I'm trying to see if I can no, I can't.
Time to protect Van Nessing.
Yeah. He plays a lot like Krug when you play with him. He's kind of like you want to get wounded, but you also want to be in a spot where you can kind of get damage done. Otherwise, you're going to be shot from range and not get your wounded smash or your bells going. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring Van Nessing. He'll do the job of a vampire hunter. Again. He's got the tools.
That's what he's there for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anytime you deal with undead, just bring Van Nessing.
And 120 points isn't bad. Isn't bad point range. I mean, it's high enough, but it's not like too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
The thing's got 9 lives. How many
He's a
Heroes
cat.
miniatures have 9 lives?
He's a
Hey,
Kairos has 9. The dragon.
Okay. Let's see here. And
Kairos has 5 defense, which is a lot more beefy.
Mm-hmm.
Lex is saying
and Counter Strike. So that's
Lex is saying one of the first playtests I did with him had him tie up 2.5 squads of axe grinders for 2 rounds. he lost, and it wasn't really imbalanced, but it was still a puzzler. This guy loves zombies and direworms. You can attack him with your zombies to ring the bell. Right. Oh yeah, it'd be great to have with zombies. Or yeah, you said the direworms instead. That's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. This I just what was the pronunciation? Klatzen School. Yeah.
Klatzen School.
Klatzen School is yeah, it's an interesting miniature. Now
it's very Heroscapey because that Heroscape is always about breaking. I mean, if you look at Dune, look at a lot of Brunac, right? There's a lot of things in Heroscape that is just like unique to its setting. Right. So I could see a zombie with a bell on his head, definitely like something that you would only see in a Heroscape world.
Absolutely. Now let me jump to, let's see here. I'm gonna just get these guys because, well, I really like them. Just aesthetically too. Here, hold on a second. See, thanks to Roguescaper, I have like a squad of these guys. So slate scale direworms. Look at this. Look at these guys.
The worms are really cool.
Wonderfully painted. I did not paint them. I didn't. This guy next to me painted them. Yes, he very, very generous. Very generous fellow. But yeah, slate scale direworms. There now I don't recommend doing this because I know Josiah was mentioning this in his live stream last week, talking about them, but he said don't recommend having them. I mean, you can, but they'll die, of course. Having them rise up on a lava space, which last Wednesday I did, because that was the only spot that it could attack from. So I'm like, I know this, and it was the last direworm I had because Deathwalker basically annihilated the other two. And so I'm just like, okay, why not? It'll never happen again in the history of using these miniatures, so I'm just going to do it. And I think I rolled like 20 saves you from 3. 20 saves you from a lava space. So yeah, I rolled like a 2 or 3. So I'm like, okay, yep. So, but yeah, I love the fact that these guys are a common squad. 80 points is a little high, but really, I mean, if you get 3 squads of these guys, you could really rip up a field with them. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting at least 3 squads of these guys because they're just going underground, and so you don't have to worry about elevation. You could be like 5-10 levels up, whatever, and you're just moving 5 spaces, boom, they're there, they're tearing up the field. So I like that about them.
Yeah, they can go as high as 11 spaces, or I mean, just in flat terrain, 11 spaces or 4 spaces down. Or 3 spaces down.
And with the movement and undermine, you can only use one, not both, right, at the same time.
Right, that's where the strategic part comes in. So you can pretty much choose to do a limited teleport with them, or you can kind of use some kind of tactical switch-like ability like the Warforged have.
Okay. Yeah, and again, I mean, they can, if you get a good blast on them and they don't roll their defense well, they can be taken out pretty. And Lex is saying no, you can use both. So we can use both at the same time? Okay. I'm getting this message. Josiah, what did you say to that?
Oh, perhaps I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget to update my mental brain about what the final release product was because I've been seeing 6 iterations of it. But let me double check that here.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to undermine, because undermine after moving a slate scale direworm, you may select an opponent's adjacent, smaller, medium figure and move it 1 space. So it's after moving. But if you use strategic underground movement, would that mean after you do that movement, then you can do undermine? Or
it says in the image here, as long as you don't basically move 1, 2, or 3 spaces effectively, you can use the undermine ability in a card. That's how it reads right now.
Let's see.
It says if a dire worm that ends his movement 4 or more spaces from its previous location cannot use undermine.
Ah, there you go. Okay, so there it is. There it is. Okay, so that is the case. Okay, last sentence of strategic underground. And Jason just read it. Okay, so there you go.
Yeah, so it's the distance of so you move your total 4 spaces, and it's not a.
Okay, so if you do a regular movement, then it's fine. All right, I get it. But yeah.
And on the topic of darkness, if you kind of land things up right, you can use undermine to shove some guys into the light. And
right.
I don't know how practical that is, but it's an option.
It is. Yeah, and they can just all of a sudden appear out of nowhere, basically from underground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, just visually they look so nice. I like them. I like them a lot.
First huge squad out there too, so
Yeah,
that's you can
squad.
the wall of worms is a viable strategy if you want to block someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely want to get good at using these guys, and just have like a 3 squads worth of these guys for sure in the future. Anything else we want to look at here? So, okay, do we want to just rip the Band-Aid off? Let's.
I'm not gonna get it,
Joe.
I'm not gonna get an answer
Joe.
that would satisfy me. We're talking about Volgrun Sure-Shot.
Yes, we are.
And in particular, the proportion contortion cannon, which reads, after Volgrun attacks, if at least one skull is rolled and the defending figure is not destroyed, you may place either a small icon or a huge icon under the defending figure's base until the end of the round. An opponent's figure, that icon is considered to be that size for any special powers on army cards you control. So, I'm going to ask the panel here, for the proportion contortion cannon, what does it do?
You have to say it 100 times faster.
Yeah, that's what Lex just said. Joe Crazy, I'll give you an answer. You say proportion contortion cannon 100 times real fast.
100 times?
It seems like it just temporarily changes the targeted figure to either be a small size or a huge size.
Right.
Right.
And
Right,
just for that
on the
round.
card.
Just for that round.
Just for that round on the card.
For what? On army cards you control. So any special powers on your army cards treat that model as being either small or huge depending on your choice.
Right.
But cards that are friendly to that model do not have no effect on it.
Good point. Or even your own, even your opponent's own card, basically, right?
Your opponent, all your opponent forces do not have that interaction. It only applies to your forces.
Okay.
So Joe, perhaps I could help explain this for you. So I think you're thinking if the figure actually changes size, it's more of a mechanical. So this is how, it's more, think of it as it's shifting between sizes. So that's why the model doesn't change, because it's being kind of constantly distorted its proportions. But, I have Volgren here. He wants to attack Nilcia. He rolls the dice. He rolls a skull. Nilcia, being normally a medium figure, now gets an icon underneath. It is now labeled a huge figure. If I had a squad of axe grinders, if they attacked Nilcia, they would get the huge benefit. Conversely, for some reason, if you wanted to make this dire worm small, you would attack it, and you would put the small icon underneath it, and now it's small. Mechanically listed on the card.
But
for all
just
your powers.
But just to yourself, the one who's basically handing that out, right?
So if you had Jote in your army and you wanted to throw this worm, you could, because now it's technically listed as small for any powers that reference those sizes.
Let's see here. Lex is saying.
Lex is saying to read the bio, and I'm gonna go find the bio here.
Okay. Go get the bio. Let's see. Lex is saying, I want you guys to know that Anatar, read every card in Classic VC, D&D, and AOA for compatibility with size matters powers. Everyone, because we had to check for breaks. We fought about this for, I want to say, hours to make this work. It doesn't affect opponents' figures because we didn't want it to create an infinite loop against Wildwoods from VC. Okay. I mean, it's good to hash this out, you know, to really, even if it's not a full agreement, at least we can get to a better understanding of it. I mean, personally, I think it's a lot of fun. And I mean, let's see, where is it? Okay, there he is. See, I got him. Boop, 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 boop. Can't wait to use him. Just another dwarf to add to my army, and I think what Lex was saying here earlier is dwarven tech. It's borderline nonsense.
So he's basically the future of the elves and dwarves planet. So instead of being in fantasy Lord of the Rings style, it's sci-fi Lord of the Rings style.
I think the suit itself is almost like where would that be from? It looks like it's cut from some type of sci-fi type mold. Not Master Chief.
Any number of power armors.
Yeah, it is. It's
Space Colonial. That's what they're.
Something like from Warhammer or something. It's
a Space Marine. Yeah.
It's
Space Marine or the newer. They have newer dwarven power armory. Yeah. New dwarven power armor army that came out a few years ago.
Sure.
League of Voltron or something like that.
Okay. It's really cool.
that kind of design.
It's really cool. I know when I first
a little bit of War Machine too.
When I first got this miniature in the mail, I'm just like, that just looks kind of cool. I just like the miniature in itself, you know.
It's a solid miniature, yeah.
I mean, it's a little dude, but you know, he packs an interesting.
He's a dwarf.
wallop. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So Joe, do you have the stuff?
Yeah, I'm reading it.
Okay,
so
reading it.
so in the bio here, he changes the size of the fox to be much bigger, and says a far bigger target, staring down a beast like it really gets the old adrenaline flowing. So they do make it bigger. But based on the card and how it works in the game, it's like the gun is telling it you're big. But it doesn't make it bigger. I'm just telling you that you're bigger.
That's what the icon's for. You put the icon under the character that you shot, so you know that for the length of the round, that character is now a different size.
But you're still telling it. You're still telling it that it's big, because if I made, Jotan small, that doesn't mean that. I mean, if I was gonna attack him, I could still see him behind the truck because he's physically tall. Because it's not changing the actual figure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's just
it doesn't affect
rules.
Line of sight. It's more, think of it just pretty much it does a variability matrix is how I justify it. So there's it pretty much adjusts random sci-fi words. Sci-fi magic. For some reason, the perception of the creature, the physical nature to the one who controls it, doesn't affect the other side. Is how I justify it.
Yeah.
Let's see, and Lex is saying this design is an old personal custom that I designed after seeing the Leagues of Votan that we adapted once.
Oh hey, that's
we found a nicer mini for it that didn't scream Warhammer. Yeah, and Lex is saying Joe doesn't like Volgren because he's a silly little guy. Okay.
That is not what I said.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
I think if you're gonna make a power like that, make it like it changes the species, where it's like, okay, well now I make my character or the enemy's character Amaro instead of being
more confusing.
How is that more confusing than this?
Because there's a ton of species. What would you
exactly?
Know? That'd
it's
be like
a species
roulette. Maybe for different miniature in the future, there could be a fun way of doing.
Oh no,
Oh my God.
it's just to me, it's because it's such a tabletop war game, and it's a very visual game for me. It's hard for me to really say that, like, okay, so and so is now bigger, but that doesn't mean I can now see him above the wall. That just means that if I use a specific type of power or an ability, it means that I can get the extra +2 attack because he's huge and not small anymore. It doesn't help me in the sense of, and I understand it's only till the end of the round, and it's like what I'm talking about that could possibly happen could only happen in maybe 1 or 2 turns.
Mm-hmm.
But in those 1 or 2 turns, if I made a character bigger and I could see him above the wall, that would be an awesome play. I think that'd be such an awesome play to be like, all right, well, your spider is now huge and I can shoot him now. And that's like, what? I mean, you can't do spiders. I think it's only for unique heroes. But even so, even the Sanguine Raider, you could definitely do it for that. So it's just like, now that you can't do it like that, it's like, okay, well, I guess it only works for specifically these set of powers. So if there's anything that's missing on the website, is what does these characters work well with? Does this have that here? It does. Synergy granted. Okay, yeah. So let's look at the synergies.
It's another dwarf hero, so the squad can activate it.
Trample Stop, Battle Axe, Giant Killer, and there's a lot. There's a lot here.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of size-based powers, yeah.
But it just doesn't do the one thing that I would assume it would do.
We'll just have to print a big and small version of every character, Joe. We'll ship that out for you. We'll make a custom card for you that says, you know what, you can switch the model out.
Small.
Which, as cool as that would be, I would love for that to, actually be a thing. I get what you're saying. That would be cool, but it's unfortunately a bit hard to.
One of us happens to be a stop motion animator here, and if I were to have this guy, where'd he go? Oh, if I were to have this guy like in Tales of a House sometime in the future, I would kind of need a smaller version of every miniature just so visually the audience could see everything being like ballooned up or shrunken down. That would actually be very, very hilarious to show that on.
You think that'd be easier than actually just changing the size in post-production?
Yes, doing a practical effect is way easier than doing a digital effect any day.
Huh.
Yes.
There's unused promo art. Maybe I'll see if I can post it unless I have plans for it. But I do have a shot of Volgren shooting what's the D&D dragon? What's his name? The
black
Moltarn, or what's the red dragon?
Oh, Molten Claw, yeah.
Molten Claw, yeah. Molten Claw.
Oh.
So since he's supposed to be a big dragon, he actually is turning the dragon big in the promo art. So I'll see if we can drop that at least on the page, because it's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, Ryan, I'd be so honored if you ever came to Tales of Hell. Well, I mean, this is just me brainstorming right now, so don't. It's nothing for certain, because customs have never been added to Tales of Hell yet. I mean, it's a possibility in the future, but it would be. Just thinking about it, he would be a fun character to like shrink the size of it, and he'd be somebody that I would imagine would be now we're veering off, but. Imagine would be that would have like a chip on his shoulder, and if anybody like commented on him against his size, he would just be like, just one, okay, you think I'm small? Boom, there. Now you're in the size of an ant's hand. I could just imagine that character.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, no, it's something to consider. Yeah. But yeah, so,
just to touch on the whole.
Yeah, go ahead.
The whole size thing is just why can't you just say, okay, well, he's a huge 12 now. He's just tall. Why can't we just imagine that? Why do we need to have an extra model there? Why does that have to be the case? Why can't we? Because it's only for the end of the round anyway. So if the person moves a certain character, he's just a height of 12 or he's a height of 3. But we have numbers for this stuff.
The challenge would be with the hit zones in terms of kind of scaling that up in the Z-axis, but not scaling up on the X and Y-axis. If you're only doing like huge 12. You'd almost have to just change the rules of Heroscape to have a more generic hit zone concept, and then it will actually work pretty well what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, most characters, their entire hit zone is red.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are huge, and unless your character is specifically like a giant ghost, that would be different, you know.
But like this guy here, for example, looking at the dwarf guy, so he's medium 4 right now. If you're to become, say, huge 12, you'd have to figure out what's 3 times his height, 3 times his width, 3 times his depth, and that becomes like his space he occupies in the battlefield for his hit zone area. I don't know how tall the actual figure is. It's probably what, around an inch tall or something. He's a dwarf.
Yeah, about that.
So now, like, you have to imagine there's a 3-inch imaginary hit zone floating in the battlefield for a turn. I mean, it's not hard to do, but if you're particular about those kind of things.
Yeah.
Right, he doesn't have to occupy more spaces. I'm just specifically saying about for line of sight.
Just height.
Where if he's a huge 12, you know, he can now be seen around a wall. Because we know the height of the wall. We know the height of a tree.
But that 12 doesn't technically matter for line of sight. The figure size, the physical size of the figure is what matters. The number is kind of irrelevant. It's used for other aspects of the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just, it's...
There's probably somewhat of a ratio, you know, like a size 12 figures probably always relatively certain size tall, but I never actually measured that, to be honest with you.
I mean, there's no width on the card.
No, I have a question.
No.
When placing a small or huge icon on your opponent's miniature, so that miniature becomes small or huge, but does the like if they are they still like if they're like say a medium 4, will they just end up being a small 4 and a huge 4? Like the number doesn't change, right?
No, that doesn't change.
Okay, well then that makes a little bit more sense to me. If that number doesn't change and they're just huge or small on that definition, then it's an easier way of playing that game. So the hit zone doesn't change when it changed then. It's just
right. So what does the gun do?
It's just their size class.
It changes their size and affects the powers.
It changes just that word.
What does that look like?
So they're no longer, so they get affected by effects of whoever would be small, whatever would be huge. That's how it's.
Maybe you could make it a density cannon. So it's not change the physical size, but change the density of the character to be a.
I mean, because
like that
makes them light opposed to heavy. Yeah. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's really what small, medium, large, heavy.
Like, just imagine you get to turn Grimnak small. You shoot Grimnak.
And
you turn Grimnak
get
small.
An attack bonus against huge figures. So yeah, I get what you're saying. So I mean, I think density is a better word. If it changes the density, not the size, I think that's a different thing. But yeah. Yeah, and
size is just how
and bonding with Volgron, yeah, I mean, axe grinders, like, you can turn a character huge, so changing its density to huge, not its size, will allow them to hack away at someone who's not usually huge, but now is, like, classified as huge in that round, and that makes the difference. But yeah, I think density is a better word for it. I think that
I would agree.
You're going to say proportion contortion, and that's the only straight up there.
Right.
No, I mean, it's a great terminology. I mean, like I said, I love
like
everything about this except for the idea that what it does isn't what I believe it should be doing.
Yeah.
Because to me, this is a very visual game. I love imagining all these characters. I know it's like a card game in a sense, where it's like, okay, I have a card, it tells me the ability, and I have to imagine what this ability does. So if the character technically doesn't get bigger, but you're saying it gets bigger and it doesn't do that, then in my mind, my imagination goes, well, what does it do? If it doesn't get bigger, but it says it's bigger, how does that change the battlefield? How does that move? I don't need to have that visual. I just need that imagination. I just need the internal visuals of what this power does, and otherwise that makes sense if we can make that work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an imagination thing for me.
Sure. Well, but I think it makes more sense now, though.
Yeah. Are there any Heroscape miniatures that have like a mismatched size to their height, in the numerical height at all? Like a small 12 or anything weird like that?
No, we need that.
Relatively similar.
There's the Martin Hounds, which are like large.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. So size doesn't necessarily mean height.
Nope.
So there you go.
And there's the Sentinels that say they're a 6, but they're pretty beefy.
The Sentinels of Grax?
No, the Jandar.
The Jandar Sentinels.
Are they a 5 or 6? I know they're just really big.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, they're bulky men. They're bold. They're buff men. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Height is another different, like the height numbers. Yeah, it's a way different conversation.
Yeah, they're height of 5, but they definitely are taller than the humans that are height of 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway.
So
okay.
maybe that's what I should be thinking of it as, because it's not you're just making them, well, not necessarily stronger or weaker.
Think of it as you're expanding or contracting the size of their molecules. Is how I visualize it. So essentially, the molecule, they kind of are stretched out. They're actually, their mass and their density stays the same, but they're kind of stretched out. But I don't know how that, again, that it's hard. There's a bit of an abstraction involved to not make this card, mechanical mass. It's just sometimes sometimes the concept doesn't fully line up with how we envision it.
But I think it's great to know that like when you link them up with axe grinders, and there you go, they can just hack away at whoever now. So that with Volgren. So
it's very fun. It's a very fun army to play. You get some soldier benefits there too, and but small range and small life will definitely make them. You got to be very tactical how you play this guy.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we covered about as much as we can cover for that. But I don't know, but I understand it a lot better. So that works out. No, so any other miniature we want to take a look at? I mean, I suppose we just go through all of them. Let me just start at the top. So, Astley the Horn Renderer, and I have that miniature actually too. Right there, little guy. Little guy. Yep.
Wee little rabbit.
I wet myself over a rabbit. It's got huge fangs. Look at the bones. Yep. Yeah, we needed a deadly antler rabbit, So there you go. All our come on, Ryan. Oh my goodness. All our holy grail dreams have come true. There you go.
Body?
Yeah. But yeah, I like this one. It's I mean, it's got the interesting abilities with the space rift and warp hop. Let's see here. And Ashley was meant for wave 2, Lex says. She was pushed to wave 3 when we found out AOA was coming, and we had to change wave 2. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, that's a fun little one, for sure.
It's really fun to play with Moorsbane if you want to really extend your banishment range. It's a fun little tip you can use.
Really can help out a wizard, basically. I think that shows in the synergies. Yeah, it really helps out wizards, wizard abilities. So yeah, and she bonds with Dryan wizards. Okay, yeah. Let's see here, and then the Krypton agents, this squad, so squad of 3, and they have a lot of things. It's just and another common squad. I like how we can get some common squads out there. So, and anything stands out to you guys with when it comes to the Krypton agents? I mean, Vidar. Of course,
I have to reread.
That's fine.
Their powers are still fresh for me. It's let's see. Capture protocol at the start of the game. Choose a species other than human as the Krypton's agents target. Kryptane agents roll an additional die when attacking or defending against figures of their target species.
I guess so. You establish a target species. Okay, so
that's cool.
Like, okay, zombie. Okay, then we.
Yeah. Okay. So that reminds me of like the guy. I forgot if they had a specific name from Aliens, I should say. Mm-hmm. That's what they remind me of. Mm. They were going after the xenomorphs. So.
Right. Yeah, mm-hmm. No, you're right. Yeah, that is. That gives me the same vibe too. Yeah, I think they're just Marines basically in the movie. But
right, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I certainly can see that.
See, cold storage. When a Krypton agent destroys a figure of its chosen target species, remove that destroyed figure from the game and place a gray containment marker on this card, a maximum of 3. So yeah, literally against Morrow, this is huge, because that means that they can't be rebirthed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. That is super, super cool. Or even, hey, water cloned. Can't be water cloned. Right. So I love that. I think that's super, super thematic, and works perfect. I love that. And then we have countermeasures. Instead of attacking with the Krypton agents, you may choose an opponent's unique figure of its chosen target species within 4 clear sight spaces and remove a containment marker from this card until the next time you reveal an order marker. All special powers on that figure's army card are negated. So yeah, these are just anti-Morrow units.
Anti-zombie,
take away Mind Shackle, take away Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that, Joe? There is a chance for you.
There's hope yet.
There's hope to be unmind shackled.
So
you just need to get put in cold storage.
If by chance I was mind shackled, well, no, technically, if by chance I was Morrow, I'd be scared of these guys.
Yeah.
I'd be trembling. I wouldn't have any issues in, I wouldn't be afraid. I would have no reason to be scared of this at all. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's no.
And that was the last Joe was ever heard from.
Yeah, Joe has left the building. Totally not my
dear.
Totally not.
We've lost a panel member.
Is there a Heroscape demon there?
Comes back with the costume. A little weird.
Oh dear. I'm afraid.
For the countermeasures, though.
Yeah.
So if you apply countermeasures to a target, it basically applies for the next order, right? Or maybe possibly 2 if it's the end of the turn and there's an initiative thing going on, right? Because it says until the next time you reveal an order marker.
Yep.
So you pretty much only use it on an enemy, I guess an enemy that you would think is going to be activated at that time.
Or some with passive abilities. So if you wanted to, if for some reason you chose Kyrie as your chosen species, you could negate Raylan's aura. It's kind of, there's definitely some headspace, and these are kind of a counter pick. These kind of fall into the realm of your repulsors. They're really good if your opponent chooses an entirely one species army that's reliant on a lot of passive power. So really good against Soulborgs. Soulborg kind of army is a good because you can negate, let's say Quakelake's gun is up next, you can kind of stop that, and Q9 just gets 1 attack. So you kind of got to think a turn ahead, what's going to be the next. So you're looking at your opponent's order markers, you're thinking, what are they going to do? How do I stop that in the most efficient way possible for 1 turn?
Okay.
It's interesting. I mean, and they're a very heavy special ability squad. Not too much on attack and defense, but good special ability squad. Yeah, interesting. And let's see here. And Joe's not back yet. Okay, well, how about we just...
he's running from the...
How about we just continue then? Let's see here. Okay, we just have two left. So, yeah, so Nilcia, Knight's Echo, and got that one beside me as well. Lycanthorpe. So we have a Dark Lord who's a Lycan.
We got a new Dark Lord. Let's go.
That's nice. So that means it can go like synergies, yeah, with like the wolves and stuff. So that's cool. And this was the miniature that we saw a picture of like a while ago. That was like very, very nice cinematic photograph that we had. So yeah, I'd say this is like, in summary, this is a good miniature to have with your wolves. Especially with like the Howl ability and United Pack. It just really gives an enhancement to your wolf army for sure. Let's see here. He's back. Oh dear, what is this? Oh my.
Okay, they can't find me. I hid my identity. They don't know who I am now. So they can't find me. All right.
I am not even going to ask questions. I'm just going to shrink I'm going to shrink that.
I'm not gonna ask why is that mask either.
No. I'm just moving on. Okay, so last miniature, Valor Agent Thomas Landis, and I'm sure it goes with. Now, wait a minute. Would Thomas Landis go with the agents then?
So they're from the same planet. You could definitely draft them together because Thomas has agent synergy, but he's kind of from a different department, so he serves Valerak instead of Vidar.
I see that. Okay. Yeah, Warp Blitz special attack. So yeah, but let's see here, agent. So would let's see, it would have synergies with the other agents basically.
Yeah, after so Warp Blitz special attack range for attack 3. After attacking with Warp Blitz, you may place an agent you control on an empty space within 2 spaces of its current location. Figures moved by Warp Blitz never take leaving engagement attacks. Afterward, if Thomas occupies a type of space that he did not occupy at the start of his turn, you may attack and place an agent with Warp Blitz 1 additional time. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like this hero. It looks like a pretty solid hero. Got a nice range. Got a very nice range to him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when it comes to this wave 3, it's, I mean, basically seven new like heroes or squads, and the atmosphere is destructible objects, the rules. All a good foundation for what I hope is more to come. Yeah, I love it, and it's great to know that it's just more stuff to explore, and really, I think you guys are really finding like your own path on how to create these miniatures now. It's in the shadow of AOA, but it's not anything that AOA is creating now. So right. That makes it a lot more fun. That makes, a lot more work, but a lot more fun. When it comes to yeah, I understand. But yeah, I can't wait for more. I can't wait for more for what you guys and how
this was a solid wave. Lots of great content here.
Good common squads. So. Yeah, anything else that stands out to you guys before we wrap up with this? Because I know we're a little bit over. Took some time.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
With the Agent Thomas here, so with this special power, are you hinting at new agents for Valerak in the future then? Because I'm pretty sure Agent Annihilation doesn't have any human agents in it.
Right.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
And I
So
think
there you
it's- I
go.
think it's
So there,
cool.
there it is.
So nothing
I'm living
has been confirmed, but
Confirmed,
the path that has the Kryptons does have a lot of extra models we were testing for some usage. So it's all sketch work at this point.
Okay.
He's kind of a special case as a Valeric agent. That's kind of why he's not Vidar. More lore, he's kind of a lone agent at this point, kind of doing his own thing. But I love Valeric, and the setting is really cool. So it's definitely a place we're going to be coming up to again. But what we're doing next is we like to kind of pick a theme, like a setting, a story, kind of go into that. Mm-hmm. So for now, that's there's none in the immediate future, but I won't say never. We have a bunch of ideas.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? Any other
Nope.
questions?
No.
That's all I wanted to ask.
I do think it's cool that you can use Valor Agent Thomas Landis with Agent Nora. You know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's a very nice way to like combine the two sets. So
Bring all the classic and custom stuff together. It's just for sure.
Yeah, at this point, it should just be Heroscape. All this is Heroscape.
Boom.
All these separate different versions. It's too confusing for everybody. I feel like there's gotta be a group somewhere where somebody's thinking, you know what, we should find a way to combine all these groups to make it one Heroscape.
Smash all the letters NGC, VC, VC3,
It's all just
HOA. Otherwise known as Heroscape. Yeah. It's
Well, that's why I got like the Heroscape logo on the side there. We'll put it under the Tales of a Hell logo during these streams usually. So.
thank you.
Yep. We all fly under that banner basically. That's what we love. So that is taking just a slight look at NGC's new Wave 3